Hi, I'm Charles. I direct and own Kaleidoscope Rock Academy and Kaleidoscope School of Music here in the Seattle area. And this is the next video in a series I'm doing on looking at modes from a soloing or compositional standpoint using what I call Pentatonic Plus. So instead of just looking at the mode from a standpoint of its normal 7-note architecture, we're going to use the pentatonic scale, major or minor, as our framework, and we're going to add one note to our familiar pentatonic scale, which is the characteristic scale step that makes that mode sound like that mode. So today's mode is Mixolydian. If you want to see how I kind of derive my overall approach to this, go back to the first video in the series where we talk about finding the major and minor quality for each mode. But this one is C Mixolydian, so I'm writing down here on my tablet, or trying to. Microsoft thinks I should write in blue, I don't know. C Mixolydian is all the natural letters, but there's one note, B flat, that has a flat on it. The reason why I picked this key is Mixolydian's a major mode, so it's related to C major pentatonic, which in turn is the same notes as the A minor pentatonic, which is for a lot of guitar players is like the home base first rock soloing scale they learned. The C major pentatonic notes are C, D, E, G, A, C, and what we realize those 5 notes are just a subset of the Mixolydian. So even if I throw the Mixolydian concept out and I'm trying to solo over a Mixolydian chord progression, the major pentatonic would give me notes that work. It's just going to be a little bland. What we're going to do is pull the B flat down into the major pentatonic as the characteristic scale step of the Mixolydian mode. How do I know that's a characteristic scale step? The concept is that the B flat is what distinguishes the Mixolydian mode from the C major scale. C major scale has a B, Mixolydian has a B flat, so that's what makes it sound different. And so by throwing that into my pentatonic framework and just emphasizing it some while I solo, I'm going to make my pentatonic based soloing sound like Mixolydian without playing Mixolydian. To lay this out on the fretboard before I do an example, I'm going to write our good old favorite 5th fret minor pentatonic scale. I'm going to write R for C because that's the root, and that's an important note to resolve to. It happens 3 times in this 5th fret box, Roman numeral 5. And then to find where this characteristic scale step is, I can look a whole step below the root. So it's not always B flat. In other keys, it's not called B flat, but it's always a whole step or 2 frets below the root. So I'm just going to put a blue X wherever it shows up. So I've got one on the 6th string, 6th fret. This one's a little bit trickier because when you look at the root of the 3rd string, you don't want to go 2 frets below that on the same string because that's out of the box. So I'm going to move that note up to the 4th string, 8th fret. It's still a B flat. It's still the X note. And then I've got one more on the 1st string, 6th fret. So my goal in making it a solo is to emphasize primarily the root as my ending point for phrases or starting point, and then a liberal dose of the X note as the Mixolydian flavor that I'm adding to the pentatonic to make it sound like I know my Mixolydian. Well, using this I do. I'm just getting there a different way. I just play you the scale, the major pentatonic scale, with that added note. It doesn't sound exactly like a blues scale anymore. When I do my soloing, I'm going to tend to play like some blues licks and things that are familiar from that scale, and then just kind of resolve or throw in dashes of that X blue note to make it sound more Mixolydian. So to create progressions, I actually have my Lumi keyboard here in GarageBand. 8-bar progression. I just kind of pick out a keyboard sound. I picked it out earlier. And I'm going to play a combination of the C major chord that represents the C major quality of this mode, and then chords that have the characteristic scale step in them, like B flat major obviously has that. So I might even use an F chord too. And it's going to make it sound kind of classic rock, but by soloing over it using this methodology, we're going to end up still making it sound more Mixolydian than a traditional like classic rock kind of progression. So here we go. That's my Mixolydian backing track. So now I'm going to do about a minute of soloing over that to kind of show you how I would apply this concept. So here we go. I put my guitar actually with some of those bends. So I used a little bit of blues scale too. You can always throw a little bit of your blues scale passing tone even into a major pentatonic. So that's this note, the D sharp. And then I get a lot of that B flat in there. So it definitely gives it a different flavor than you would get if you weren't thinking Mixolydian or weren't doing this Pentatonic Plus approach. You know, I could play over the same progression with more of a classic rock approach. It'd be a totally different animal. One thing I should have mentioned earlier is that the B flat, the characteristic scale step in this C Mixolydian, is actually the same B flat that we were adding to get our Phrygian sound. So just like major and minor relate and Dorian and Lydian relate, the Phrygian and Mixolydian scales have the same characteristic scale step, but it feels different against the root shifting from a minor root to a major root. So, but it is interesting that once you start targeting these characteristic scale steps within familiar blues boxes, some of them are going to be the same between these different modes, and so that's going to make your subconscious's job of integrating and reusing this in future solos easier. So it's kind of an added bonus. So thank you for watching this video. We've got one more to go. We're not going to do one for the so-called Aeolian mode, because that's just natural minor, and there's lots of other things out there for that. But we are going to jump ahead to the last mode, the low string, which is kind of tricky. So that will be in the next video, and thank you for watching this channel.